I would like to welcome you guys to Legal Wars Live. It's your favorite host, the Big Ghost Rider. You know what I'm saying? I'm for sure this is episode number 66, but I got number 67 in the title line because my boy LJ, I thought he was gonna come through yesterday. You know what I'm saying? And I was gonna double up and do two streams. I still came on and did the 7 a.m. stream. You know what I'm saying? But I wanted to put LJ on. You know what I'm saying? Have like a 250 year anniversary celebration. You know what I'm saying? I want to start there. I want to say happy 250th birthday to the United States. We're going to get on that in just a second. But before I do, I need to do a proper introduction. So, you know, you guys, Big Ghost Rider, Tax the Rich tour across the beautiful and the great city of New York. You know what I'm saying? Like, really, the state of New York. We started the tour in Peekskill, made our way down the White Plains, then we touched down in Jamaica, Queens, and now we are on the upper west side of Manhattan in Central Park as we speak. You know what I'm saying? Doing a whole lot of content down, you know what I'm saying, in Midtown, you know what I'm saying, down there by Times Square and everything like that. So that's what's going on the Tax the Rich tour. My goal, my aim is 210 videos minimum. You know what I'm saying? That's 100 live streams in 90 days. Yeah, think of the hours. I'm live every single day. And the goal, and I will deliver, is 100 of them by August the 1st. You know what I'm saying? That's 100 shorts. So y'all make sure y'all watch the shorts as well. You know what I'm saying? In that same amount of time period. And then that's 10 vlogs. So I've been taking a break on the vlogs. You know what I'm saying? Missed the vlog yesterday, but I promise y'all we will be back next Tuesday and I'll have a brand new vlog for you guys to check out. So I hope you guys are checking out all the great content. It's the Tax the Rich tour on a normal 3-month period. Like the 3 months before this Tax the Rich tour, I was doing a series called Cruising with Ghost Rider. You see what I'm saying? And in 3 months, I did 80 episodes. That's a lot of episodes. 80 episodes in 90 days. You see what I'm saying? But I turn up the episodes. I turn up the content for the Tax the Rich tour. And that's what we're doing right now. Also, I bring you content from different areas of New York. Basically, all the people who follow my show and who follow my live stream, they from the South, Texas, Mississippi. I'm showing them New York City in a way they never seen it. So that's how we gonna start off, man. If you guys have not liked the video, I ask that y'all double tap the screen. You know what I'm saying? Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Make sure y'all hit that notification bell. I'm going to check and make sure the mute button isn't muted this morning to start this live stream, guys. I welcome everyone as y'all come into the live stream. Republicans, independents, and Democrats, y'all jump down in the comment section. Y'all say good morning. Y'all say hello. And you guys let your voices be heard. As I told you guys, we are about to celebrate 250 years. Happy birthday to the United States of America, and this is a doozy, 250th year anniversary. You see what I'm saying? Guys, I'm not gonna give you guys some kind of generic kindergarten history lesson telling you what America represents. America represents democracy. America represents peace. America represents hope. Don't get me wrong, that America represents all of those things. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you compare the United States with the rest of the world, that's what you got to realize. I hear a whole lot of people, they'll get to hating on the United States in a heartbeat. Talking about the errors or the corruption that they see within the United States. Well, why don't you go to Mexico? You see what I'm saying? Why don't you go to Europe? Why don't you go to Russia and China? America's biggest foes. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not here to hate on America or do nothing like that. I'm a patriot. I love my country. I'm an ex-veteran. I'm here to speak facts. And the facts of the matter is, I want President Trump to take some responsibility for this. That's the facts of the matter. As a matter of fact, President Trump has to take a lot of responsibility for this, but it's not all on President Trump. Because the news is that Iran, I'll go ahead and give you guys the news 5 minutes in. Iran, they strike in Kuwait and Bahrain. You said, what, Ghost? Yeah, that's correct. That's after, you see what I'm saying, they hit a tanker. And so that's after the United States responded. And that's after, yeah, ceasefire, man. I'm saying, well, how many days? We less than 2 weeks into this ceasefire. And we are on the verge of getting cranked back up into a water conflict in Iran. That's what I'm saying. That's the problem. That's what's going on. I don't understand President Trump's negotiation and what he's trying to do and what he's trying to accomplish. Because what I'm saying is it's causing pain to the American people. That's what it's going to cause. And President Trump knows this. And President Trump has made that calculation correctly, I might add. President Trump has made some efforts to ensure the price of gas doesn't go too high. I'll give you that, big dog. But I'm saying, if you've made the calculation that going to war and getting into a fight with Iran is not good for the American people, why would you continue? I'll tell you why. This part right here, I don't put it on him. I say it's a fundamental problem within the United States. It's a fundamental problem with us as Americans. Since after the Second World War. I'll give you a little history right here. So, you know, the United States, they were exclusionists. They weren't trying to be involved in any world wars. And so Adolf Hitler, he was over there in Europe, and he just pretty much ran all the way through Europe until he got stopped in London. And what happens is the axis of evil. You know, you got what, Germany, you had Japan. They made some mistakes. They made some errors because the United States wasn't in the war, but Japan went and bombed Pearl Harbor, and it brought the United States into the war. America was forced to join World War II. Thanks be to the world. You see what I'm saying? But I'm saying after the end of World War II, America made a conscientious choice to not allow another Adolf Hitler to kill millions of Jews or millions of any other people. America made a conscientious choice to be the world police ever since World War II. And so we see in the 50s, America Industrial Revolution, you know what I'm saying? America's economy was doing good. They had money to spend on the military, and America became a great military might, at the same time becoming the richest nation in the world. And I'm saying since then, America has had, on the 250-year anniversary of America, we reflecting this morning. Since then, America has had an issue with controlling and dominating the world. So from the 50s, we move into the 60s, and we get the Vietnam War, we get the Vietnam conflict. America is facing off against the Soviet Union, against the communists. I'm not for communists. I'm not for Putin. I'm not for Russia. I'm not for any of that, but I'm just giving you guys the facts. And so we go to Vietnam War. It's a war that we should not be fighting. It's a war that even if you make a mistake, listen, politicians make mistakes. Politicians, they just like humans. So you made the mistake and you got involved in the war, but after 10,000 American troops dead, don't you think it's time that you see and you realize that we need to end this conflict? We're not getting nowhere. 20,000 American troops dead, you still keep fighting, and you keep fighting it, and you keep fighting it. Because America, being bigger than and stronger than these other nations, America having more money, not that America became the bully. That's not what I'm saying. There's a lot of people who believe that the United States of America is bullies on the world. I know all of y'all heard that before. That's not what I'm advocating for. Because America's dominance on the world, it started after World War II. It seems like it makes common sense that, hey, you don't want the world to have another Adolf Hitler. Look at the decades of peace in Germany, the decades of peace in Japan, the decades of peace in Europe. So I'm not against what the United States was doing in certain situations, the moments that call for that, the moments that call for that. But what I'm saying, when we reflect on Vietnam, what I see in the United States, the character of the American government, I see a power that is willing to wield this sword. I see a power that is willing to inflict pain on its opponents at all costs. It's like, listen, your main goal can't be to inflict pain. I think I'm figuring out the problem. God bringing it to me, God giving it to me dealing with the other government. I'm seeing how do you operate on every level of government. This is a mindset of America leadership. We talking about on the highest levels of government down to the city and the states and the local government. You trying to dominate. I understand a bigger opponent. This is what we do. We want to dominate. But I'm saying you can't see yourself as being bigger than the other opponent. The United States not bigger than the Soviet Union. In that conflict, see, I'm aware of geopolitical situations and the greater between what was going on in Vietnam, but the Americans being a superior power though to the Vietnamese. You see what I'm saying? You want to inflict pain. Let me move forward so you can see it's the same scenario. Let's go to Iraq too. Let's go to Afghanistan. Afghanistan is the worst of these scenarios to me. It's worse than Vietnam. Because America basically was fighting against ragtag, or you know what I'm saying? It's not like you fighting against the Soviet Union. Nah, Russia, they might have been supplying, but Iran might have been supplying, but I'm saying America was really fighting against Taliban, ragtag horses. You see what I'm saying? And I'm saying you there for 20 years, and after 20 years, the same group of people who was in control, despite you kicking them out of power, they came back to power. That's a perfect example. Thousands of Americans dead. You wasted millions, billions of American dollars, billions and billions, hundreds of billions, probably trillions in Afghanistan in 20 years, undoubtedly trillions. You see what I'm saying? You wasted all of that. And in the end, what did you come back with? What's the outcome of it? But I'm saying the need, because you bigger than the opponent. We're bigger than the Taliban. It's like when you get into these, and this ain't the military. Don't take it wrong. The politicians, it's the politicians. It's the strategy makers who need to change the strategy. It's not the military. The military is just a tool. It's the execution of the strategy. They're just the executioners of the law that the president gives. They just gonna execute on their commander's word. But I'm saying it's the politicians and their train of thinking, their train of thought to where they're like, okay, we are bigger and we are stronger than the Taliban. So we will inflict constant pain on the Taliban. And by way of inflicting constant pain on the Taliban, we'll be able to win. We'll be able to be successful. We'll be able to conquer. But I'm saying it does not work. I'm saying, like, listen, in my mind, we are considering the Taliban, we consider the Iranians. It's like when we're making this strategy, we're thinking these people are like us. These people aren't like us. They have a capacity to take a substantial amount of more pain than the average Americans. They don't value life as much as we do. You see what I'm saying? These, in a lot of cases, these people, their ideology, like religious ideology, they believe that, I mean, a lot of cases, they're poor, extreme poverty, third world, excuse me. So life doesn't have the same meaning as it does for people in the Middle East, a lot of Iranians, as it does for Americans. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. You have to realize this. We have to see this. We have to understand these things when we're making our strategy. Because I'm saying what our strategy that we have right now, it needs to be completely scrapped. It's not working. I don't care what you say. Even if President Trump has a plan And he's the art of the deal maker. Listen, let me explain something. President Trump is 80 years old. When did he write the art of the deal? Somebody tell me. Y'all put it down below in the chat. What year did President Trump write the art of the deal? Because I'm saying if he wrote it and when he was in his 50s, please don't say his 40s or his 30s, because he is 80 years old. The world has changed since then. He cannot possibly be using the same sort of strategies to come in, create chaos. Look, the only reason why the strategy might have worked for you, big dog, for so long is because you got so much more power, money, and influence than the average person, or even the other business person he'll go up against. He probably got more weight or more muscle, or he tougher than him. He more scary. I don't know what's going on. But all I'm saying is that strategy has to be tweaked, because that strategy fundamentally is wrong and it is hurting America. And I'm telling you one thing about the politicians politically, it is expedient for you to tweak this strategy. All Republican politicians. I don't think the Democrats have this much problem. I don't think the Democrats have this problem. I think you Republicans got Obama derangement syndrome. Yes, Obama dropped more bombs. He dropped more bombs than any other president. Just like he deported more people than any other president. King Fire, WTF. Good morning, gentlemen. Make sure you guys have double tapped the screen, like the video. I know y'all subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I see y'all down there commenting. Yeah, President Obama dropped more bombs than any other president. Look what he did to Gaddafi. Look what he did in Libya. No one's not saying that. But what I'm saying is the difference between him and the Republicans is I'm saying maybe he's listening to the same CIA that's giving the advice to the same George Bush and the same Donald Trump. But I'm saying he's making the decisions, in my opinion, a little bit wiser. Okay, yeah, we're going to go after the bad men. Yeah, we're going to go after the strong men. Yeah, we're going to keep showing American muscle. Hey, look, we need to be the superpower. The world order is pretty much gone, but we still need to maintain some kind of control in the world. I don't have no problem with America doing that for these old guard Republicans. But what I'm saying is what's clear is the American people made it clear they don't want you going to war in the Middle East forever. President Obama didn't end that war in Afghanistan, but President Biden did. The Democrats, they seem to get it. When Israel had a problem in the Middle East, President Biden assured that Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli people had support and cover for America, but he didn't go fight their conflict. He let Bibi fight the conflict himself, and he just supported him. When Ukraine was getting beat to sleep by Russia, if it wasn't for Joseph Biden and them hundreds of millions of dollars in aid and support he gave to the Ukrainians, Putin would have been to Kyiv. But Joseph Biden did it smart. He didn't put American troops or boots on the ground. He's not going to evolve the United States. That's what I'm saying. And that's the difference with President Obama. I'm not saying that you can't go fight the war. You cannot. But you have to do it smartly. The Republicans, y'all need to change your strategies and how you fighting this war. Because you guys are going to find out how upset the American people are with President Trump over this war. You don't know it yet, but I'm here to tell you, I'm giving you your predictions. They're going to let you hear it. You're going to hear it in November of 2026. You're going to hear it all of 2027, mainly from the Democrats and the government. But I don't see how the American people this time are going to be that much against. Listen, the first time President Trump came into the White House, they knew about President Trump. Yeah, grab a woman by the pee. Yeah, he this kind of dude, he that kind of dude. But the American people never seen him in no political office. I said it like that on purpose. No political office anywhere. Not the governor of New York, not the mayor. They never seen him in political office. So they gave him, he got his opportunity. And I'm saying he caught 34 felonies. He did some things like his mismanagement of COVID that the American people didn't agree with. January 6th, it caused him to lose an election. You see what I'm saying? Which he disputes, but it don't matter. This is what happens. He wasn't in the White House no more. But the reason American people gave him another chance, he said he won the election. He said the government was after him. They tried to assassinate him. The American people did feel sorry for him because we've all felt some kind of reprieve from the government before. So the American people did feel sorry for him. But the biggest reason why he won is the economy, stupid. President Biden and his 9% inflation numbers at one point during his presidency, his millions and millions of illegal immigrants coming into the country and taking the jobs at one point during his presidency, open borders, the American people just weren't all the way, they just weren't feeling it. You see what I'm saying? It's just something that they weren't all the way with. And I'm saying at the same time, they're looking at during Trump's administration, the first time the price is so cheap. Hey, we going to give him another chance. Maybe he can get gas down. You got to remember, during President Trump's first term, first whole 4 years, gas never got over $3 a gallon. Never, not one time. His first 4 years, we never got into no wars or no conflicts with no countries. His first 4 years, you got to think about this. 2017, 2018, 2019, prices were cheap. You see what I'm saying? I'm saying we started having a problem with with these big corporations buying up the houses, but I'm saying it wasn't we didn't have all them illegals in the country. I'm saying, and them COVID checks, y'all remember all them COVID checks that he was giving out to? Yeah, bro, people remember that from President Trump, and they didn't like the way the country was moving with President Biden, so they said, we gonna give you another chance, President Trump. But what I'm trying to tell you is when the Democrats take over this time, and the Democrats ready to start the impeachment time, I think the American people are gonna be less forgiving to President Trump. Listen, in my opinion, in the eyes of the American people, that's why you've seen 70%, 68%, almost 70% of Americans united completely against this war with Iran. 70% of Americans who are saying President Trump's not doing good on the economy. The reason that is I believe he committed the cardinal sin. It's a cardinal sin at this moment of time in U.S. history for an American president to go wage an unnecessary war in the Middle East, another unnecessary war. President Biden, listen, let me explain something to you. If President Biden would have got reelected, eventually BB was going to get at Iran. That was his whole goal. Israel was attacked. So systematically, he was weakening Iran's proxy armies because he was going to go attack the Araghchi, the motherland. He was looking for the motherlode. That conflict with Iran was coming, whether President Trump was. When President Trump won, it just turned everything favorable to BB. But I'm saying you could say President Biden would have tried to stop him from attacking Iran. Maybe he would have. That conflict was coming one way or the other. I just think the management of that conflict, that's what we're talking about right now. The management, even when I started off talking about the American military and over the years and the decades, yeah, I'm going to put it all together in just a second. The management of that conflict from President Trump, it looks like he failed. Because I'm 1,000% sure if the American people are thinking about, imagine, listen, we talk, I'm gonna give you some insight and some vision. You could pretty much take it to the bank that the Democrats got the House of Representatives. I'm saying it's probably a 60-40 proposition at this point in their favor that they're gonna take the Senate. They're more likely to take the whole Congress than they're not. Okay, and I don't know what the prediction markets is. These are the Legal Wars live prediction markets, okay? So look, that being said, moving forward, Even though the United States, I mean, the Congress has limited President Trump's powers in Iran. And I'm saying that's something the Democrats going to be using. 2027 going to be the wild, wild west in politics in America, American politics. Like Gavin Newsom said, they're going to attempt to make President Trump a lame duck president, ineffective. So the Democrats, they're going to do in 2027 what we seen them do in 2019 and 2020. Once they took control then, they're going to take control now, and we're going to see the same thing happening next year. That's not what I'm talking about. This is the main point and the main thing that I'm talking about in this conflict right now. President Trump falling out of favor with the American people, moving forward, committing a cardinal sin of fighting a war in Iran that the American people are completely against. I'm saying moving forward, what he's facing, his party, past 2027, past him fighting for his impeachment life, past him, I'm saying when we get past all of that and we looking at the Republican Party in 2028 and J.D. Vance's chances, I'm saying he gonna have to dash far away from President Trump to even, I don't know how effective MAGA's gonna be. Because what I'm trying to tell you is the American people are going to be looking for change. And that change is not going to come in the form of the Republican Party. No Republican Party, I promise you. Because you had your chance. I mean, think about it. If you could, the people who make less than $50,000 a year, those people in large part, they always vote. They used to call them the food stamp voters, voting for Democrats, President Obama. I'm saying, why in the world would they switch over and for the first time they want to vote for a Republican? Why you think that's possible that they want to vote for a Republican for the first time? I'm saying, what's the purpose? Just think about that. All of a sudden, we want to vote for a Republican. That's because they felt like the Democrats weren't doing enough to help the economy. They felt like President Biden didn't do enough to fix and help the economy. That's why. The poor people. I'm saying the poor people. Look, the Democrats, they got off message. They were talking about putting President Trump in jail. And the people, they don't care nothing about putting President Trump in jail. They like, hey, yeah, America's doing good on paper, but it's a lot of us make less than $50,000 a year. As a matter of fact, 2/3 of the country make less than $200,000 a year. 2/3, well over 2/3. People making less than $200,000. You got to think if rent is $4,000 on average a month here in New York. On average, it's $4,000 a month. On average, times 12, that's $50,000 a year they paying in rent. $50,000 a year that I'm gonna pay in rent. You gotta think about that. That ain't got nothing. You got a car, you got insurance, you got a phone bill, you got a wife, you got children, they got school, they got college, you got futures. $200,000 in this city ain't no money, bruh. You struggling. Think about that, 200,000 and they struggling. So when you talk about helping the working class or help, you're not just helping some black woman with 50 kids getting food stamps. Boy, you helping people out there working, trying to make it. You helping the middle class too. You helping the people in general. Not just the people. Look, listen, make America great again. I'm recognizing that America has problems and America need to be made great again. America was great, but America not great again. That's the name of your whole movement. Don't get mad at me. This is your movement. This is the name of your movement. America was great, but America not great no more. So I'm going to make America great again. While I'm making America great again, I'm saying what I'm going to do. Because I'm trying to figure out what part of America that was made great again. You talking about, oh, you wanted to change. Look, for us changing, what that plane he flying, Air Force One, him changing out Air Force One is what making America great again means, right? You see what I'm saying? Is that making America great again? That's my question. What does making America great again mean? What I mean, what how he making America great again? What he did to make America great again? You building a ballroom is making America great again? I don't understand what you meant by making America great again, because I'm gonna tell you what I mean by what I'm saying making America great again. You talking about the largest tax breaks in American history? I wouldn't too much brag about that, because them tax breaks was for Elon and them. So I'm saying you created the first trillionaire since you've been president. You done made billions, so there's a lot of millionaires probably made a whole lot of money. Is that making America great again? Because what I'm trying to tell you is the rich people, they don't need no help. The rich people Elon gonna be successful whether you have a Republican or a Democratic president. It doesn't matter. That's why they give money to both Republicans and Democrats. You feel what I'm saying? He gonna be successful whether you have a Republican or a Democrat. It doesn't matter. Jeff Bezos gonna be successful regardless. What is making America great again? Is making America great again like getting rid of crime? Yeah, he did that. That's part of it. Immigration, deporting people, yeah, that's part of it. Is. I gotta be real. But also what's making America great again is giving people, young people, a chance and a shot at the American dream. Listen, here's the thing that is bad for Republicans. What's bad for Republicans is they recognize the problems that we have in America. They recognize the housing, the problem with the housings that's why they passed the Housing Act. Why do you think the Republicans passed the Housing Act? They recognize the problem. They see the pain of the American people. But looking at the pain of the American people, I'm saying, what are they doing to help the American people? That's what I want to know. I'm not talking about the rich. You know, we got 1,000, 2,000 billionaires. You got probably a lot of millionaires. If you think about it, you got a whole lot of millionaires. I'm talking about you got millions of them, and President Trump's policies help them. But I'm saying that if you give him 30% of the country, that's the most that his policies are benefit. 30% of the country. You have 2/3 of the country that is in pain. Y'all remember we started the first 30 minutes talking about pain and how America needs to change. And you like, Ghost, why are you talking about the economy? And you talking about, that's just President Trump mismanaging that war. A Democrat wouldn't have did that. No. America needs to change its whole mentality about inflicting pain, and President Trump needs to concentrate on the pain of his people more than inflicting pain on Iran. That's what I'm telling you. As Americans, we think that we could win every single conflict by inflicting pain on other people, and it don't work. It didn't work in Vietnam. It didn't work against Saddam Hussein's army. It didn't work against the Taliban, and it's not working against the Araghchi. We gotta change. We need to change that fundamentally. Yeah, President Trump made an error. Yeah, he did attack Iran, and he probably shouldn't have. Yeah. He might have mismanaged this conflict. Yeah, a Democrat probably wouldn't have did that. Yeah. I feel all of that. But fundamentally, even the Democrats need to cut down how much money we spend on our military. President Obama recognized this. He tried to cut stuff. I'm not for no cutting in the military. President Trump making our military as big as you want to. Spend 1.5 trillion. I'm okay with all of that. But what I'm saying is don't shoot the Tomahawk missile unless you truly have to. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is don't focus all your time in trying to create pain on other people. And instead, you need to focus your time on making America great again, relieving your people from pain. Some people love pain. They love suffering. They love seeing other people suffering. They love that stuff. And I'm saying fundamentally, that's a problem in America. You can say whatever you want to. I'm telling you, I don't care if you never heard this from no one else like this before. Fundamentally, that's a problem in America. We want to see Iran. Listen, I heard Lindsey Graham and them say it out of his own mouth. We gonna make the Araghchi suffer. We gonna put pain on Iran. It's like you a pain junkie. You a junkie, you a pain junkie. It's like you wake up like hitting a pain joint. I'ma hit a joint, I'ma smoke a pain joint this morning. Or if I'm not smoking a pain joint, you know what I'm saying? I'm eating a pain cheeseburger. They junkies for pain. They junkies for creating or seeing other people go through pain. I'm saying, what are you getting out of that? If the supreme leader died, you killed this person. It's like if you, in my mind, you saying other people need to feel pain. To me, it's like when you strategizing in your feelings. It's like you and your feelings. It's like it's no way in the world if you go to General Kane in the military and they're making the calculations, they not using pain or they don't think, they cannot be thinking like that or using that kind of language. We don't care about no kind of pain. That boy, we finna destroy. It's about being tactical and with your strategy and achieving your goals and your mission. Your goal and your mission is to get that nuclear dust from Iran, and that was it. That was your whole goal. Now you got the straight. Now you talking about pain. Oh, we want to cause pain. If we could just take Carg Island, just like Vietnam. Oh, if we could just do one more thing, if we could just inflict a little bit more pain, it'll work. I know he'll break. And then you'll bring in the preachers and they'll start quoting scriptures. You know, America good about this now. You'll bring in the preachers and they'll start quoting scriptures about Noah's Ark, and he preached for 1,000 years. And if we do this for 1,000 more years and it ain't adding up, it's not working. It's failing. It's failing. Whoever giving y'all advice was advising BB with Israel, you failed horribly. Whenever Joe Biden was president, BB was looking like a rock star. Go look back and look, President Trump came in, he did the beeper thing, yeah. But Joe Biden gave BB that start. He cleared the path for him. Y'all don't remember the soldiers under Joe Biden setting themselves on fire protesting the United States support for Israel? Y'all don't remember Dearborn, Michigan, all the Muslims not voting Democratic because they were protesting Joe Biden's support for Israel? Yeah. And then President Trump get in and somebody started advising him, and now he got him over here. I guess he started that during President Biden's administration. And now you starving tens of thousands of children and women. Who you getting your advice? You got to change your strategy. Because if I get on here and tell you that the United States and Iran is trading shots, and then they going to negotiate some kind of, I don't know if you call it peace, with Iran and President Trump, you can't have two people like that with the same kind of personalities. You need somebody with the disposition of a Barack Obama to deal with crazy people. You can't have two crazies negotiating. And that's what the problem. And that's not no hate on President Trump. That's his strategy. That's the problem with Putin. You can't have a man that is like Putin to negotiate with Putin. Xi is completely different. The Chinese leader, he seems like he's more, you know what I'm saying? Like he uses reason more and logic. Putin ain't using no reason and logic in that war. If President Trump does, he kind of has to. The nature of his presidency different than the Russian presidency. President Trump has less authority and power. But what I'm trying to tell you, bro, is we got to change our whole attitude and how we deal with these situations. A lot of police violence in our future, in our past, comes from You want to create pain on another person. I don't see how that is an appropriate strategy. How can you come to a calculation of creating pain? That doesn't work in the strategy. That might work in, I don't know where that come from. That must be coming from like the psychologists or the psychiatrists, or maybe like the preachers, or maybe like the drug cops or something, like some kind of specialized kind of people, specialized forces in the military. But I'm saying that top brass, they not, we gonna calculate, we need to drop 1,800 bombs to take out their military, these installations. It's that politician talking about inflicting pain. General Kane ain't talking about inflicting no pain. He talking about completing missions. We need to complete this mission. All he got to do is drop them bombs and hit his targets and get on down. It's these politicians who need to change in pain, inflicting pain. Like, you got the apathy to love to see another human being suffering. I want to watch them suffer. How many times we hear that in America? We want to watch them suffer. I'm trying to figure out, like, the only value I could see out of America dropping 13,000 bombs is a $50 billion price tag for doing it. That's all I could see. You dropping, that's all I could see. You dropping a $50 billion price tag. What else you get out of it? What else are you achieving out of it? Is it like the woman who just walked by commenting on what I'm doing? I'm saying, what is she achieving out of that? There's a dude out there who walking his dog. I'm not achieving nothing by paying attention. I'm just different in my mentality. It's not worth. It's stuff that is worthless to me. Me watching another person suffer or go through pain. What am I getting out of that? I'm not being aroused. I'm not getting off on it. I'm not getting no money out of it. I'm trying to see what is it doing for me? I focus on what I get out of something. I don't care what this dude doing or what he going through in his life. It ain't doing nothing for me. And if it is doing something for you, I'm saying if you are getting some kind of, I'm saying that's the whole problem. We could talk about Iran, we could talk about the strikes, we could talk about no ceasefire, and you could blame it on President Trump, and you majority right. But I just got a sneaky suspicion, even if the American people do just like they did the last 20 years and they start voting for a whole lot of Democrats, I got a sneaky suspicion that in America, we are not over and we are not through with this problem. We have to change. I'm saying this is a perfect time to do it. Look, before I get in the comments, I said to you, we got to change our opinion about Muslims too. I think that's very important. I think we have the wrong opinion about Muslims, bro. I really believe that. 10,000%. I think we have a certain kind of hatred for Muslims that we don't have for other groups and people and nationalities. I really believe that. Because I'm saying, look how hard, like, I'm talking about the Americans. Like, President Trump talk about how the Ukrainians and the Russians hate each other. I kind of could understand or see ethnically the reasons. Well, but I'm saying, look how bad America hates. America hates I'm talking about, it's a hard hatred for the Iranians. That's what I'm saying. It's a hard hatred for the Iranians. And it's been like that for a long time. For a minute. I'm saying you don't have that kind of hatred for Russia. You don't have that kind of hatred for China or North Korea. And Russia, China, and North Korea, it's all the same. They all the same. And Iran, they all the same. They communist, they socialist nations. We have to change our attitudes towards the Iranians. We got to change. There's no other way. Listen, 11% of Americans, through all of this, higher gas price, all of this, believes that that President Trump hasn't done enough on Iran. You know, there's American people, there's powerful people that are in President Trump's ear, pushing him to go further with Iran. They don't care if America they want America to be in an all-out conflict. And I'm not talking about just Democrats who want to see President Trump get destroyed politically. I'm talking about Republicans who think it's the right thing to do. We need to change our attitudes. I'm saying the majority of America could see that's a mistake for you to start with, to get into that conflict with them. That was a mistake to begin with. The majority of Americans could see that. You said a $50 million bill? It ain't 50 million, it's 50 billion with a B. And it just it happens like in a short amount of time. In a couple of months, billion with a B. Not 50 million, 50 billion. That's a whole lot of money. You could do a whole lot of things with 50 billion. It's not 50 million, it's 50 billion. Says America can't change, Michelle, because half of American people have been brainwashed for Fox News for this, and that's facts. It's not just Fox News, it's other organizations. And I'm saying it plays out for you. To me, it seemed like, okay, depending, I guess, on how old you are, but I'm saying Waffle Jackson, within the recent future, what I'm trying to say is we watched this happen under George Bush. We watched what happened. We watched the results of it. We watched all of it. We watched how the American people responded to you talking about some country in the Middle East having a nuclear weapon. Ain't nobody want to hear that, care about that. Listen, bro, the average American person, bro, I'm talking about Slow Time, Central Park. You go out, the average American person, bro, I promise you, they do not care nothing about Iran or nothing about no bomb. And when you tell them that, they don't believe you in that, because you told them Iraq had weapons of mass destruction and you was lying about Iraq. So why should they believe you about Iran? They ain't gonna believe nothing you say. American people don't want to fight the stupid war, period. Charlie Kirk, he in your own party. If you ask President Trump and them last January who they would take the advice from, he'd say he gonna tell you Charlie. You ask them in your own party, he'll tell you as stupid as I don't know what. You gonna destroy the whole Republican Party fighting that war. And you gonna go do it anyway. Talking about a safer country. How your country safer because you attacked Iran? Because give Iran a nuclear weapon, they don't have the technology to be able. They probably can't hit London. That's what I'm saying. They can't hit London with a missile. How they gonna put a nuclear warhead on the front of a missile if they don't have the capacity to hit London? Just because you didn't create a nuclear material, that don't give your ballistic. Now you can launch a ballistic missile halfway across the world. Nah, Iran does not have the capability of hitting the United States with a nuclear weapon. Everyone knows that. The American people not stupid. You keep on trying to do a safer country. That's the way you looking at it. You need to change your mentality and get in line with the American people, because that is not in line with what the American people think, period. I mean, I don't know what else I could say, bro. That's as clear as I could say it. The American people do not believe in you fighting, that you made America safer with that war. The American people don't believe that. Listen, I'm going to tell you like this. You might have made America safer with that war. I'm the type of person that I'm going to give everybody, You know what I'm saying? You might have, but still, if you made America safer with the war, the American people don't believe that. Fundamentally, that's what your problem is, what the American people believe or don't believe. Waffle Jackson says, Mr. Black, nah, Charlie being against Israel has been misrepresented. I am not an Israel fan, but blaming them for everything is way too lazy. And Waffle Jackson, you 1,000% correct. Blaming Israel for everything is way too lazy. Israel ain't to blame for everything, just like President Trump ain't to blame for everything. I'm getting to the root of the problem. Ain't nobody else gonna tell you the root of the problem. You gotta change your attitude and how you deal with stuff. Cause you have the power to do something doesn't mean that it's expedient for you to do it. Because you have the power to crush the Iranians doesn't mean it's expedient for you to do it. Because you have the power doesn't mean that you do it. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't mean that it's the right thing to do because you got the power to do it. WTF says, end Citizens United, end super PACs, end billionaires controlling American politics. They are not for you. And that's what listen, to me, that's tax the rich, changing the tax code. You see what I'm saying? I'm not even going to get into all of, because I think that, if we get into the deeper, I don't think at the roots, we're going to be able to change America at the roots. And that's what Elon and them thinking. President Trump, when they got up there, they thought they were going to be able to change something at the roots. But you're not going to be able to change the United States at the roots. You're going to have to do it a different kind of way. What I'm trying to tell you, we the people, we are the ones that are running everything. We controlling the government and everything. But there's certain people that's in power, and they playing by a different set of rules. There's certain people who got money. That's what WTF is talking about. What I'm saying is we gotta, what they doing, we gotta play by our rules, our own set of rules too, and go against them. Changing the tax code is playing by I could tell you the politician who's with us, and I could tell you the politician who is with them. I think President Trump in his first term, as much as he could be, he was trying to be with the people, and the people recognized that. But seeing him with that Iran war, like those 11, you got 11% of Americans who want to fight that war. That's not the people. They're not with the people. That's only 11%. You going 11% against America. You going 11% against 89%. That's just a small little, it's a large 11% of America's 30-something million people. It's a large faction, but you talking about 30-something million against 300 million. You see what I'm saying? I'm saying like, and that's where it's at, man. We need to change our attitude and how we deal with a lot of these situations. You love inflicting pain on people, but that comes with a cost. That's what you don't realize. You inflicting pain on another person, that comes with a cost. You got to pay the cost to do that. Who wants to pay the cost? Democratic voters, why y'all so far up KKK booty? I don't understand that one. Somebody says, who is that? Mr. Black, he says we wouldn't have went to Iraq if Saddam Hussein didn't attack Israel and threaten Israel. That's probably true. Look, I don't have a problem with America's support for Israel. I have a problem with America's support for starving women and children. That's it. If the dude get to starving women and children, we got a problem with that. But with him supporting Israel, the people that the American government choose to be allies with strategically, I think Israel is a great strategic ally. You could say Bahrain is, you could say Jordan is, you could say the UAE is, and you could say Saudi Arabia is too, and you will be correct. But what's that got to do with Israel? That's my point. So the United States having strategic allies in Europe or in Africa or in Asia, strategic partners, and it doesn't matter to me. I don't care. But I'm saying that the partnership, it becomes a problem when you have a leader who's being accused of corruption, and then we are watching him on the world stage block the United Nations and other nations from delivering food to the Palestinian women and children. That becomes a problem then. He's intentionally starving women and children, intentionally killing women and children and civilians because they Palestinians. Yeah, we got a problem with that. And it's like it's certain things, like when it involves the lives of people, I don't think the politicians get this shit. Listen, a dude could come to your neighborhood and he could sell drugs. If he a smart dude to stay ahead of the police, and he's a peaceful guy to where he doesn't go out there and kill people, then he might be I've known drug dealers, when they start killing people, that's when, because it's ingrained in us humans naturally. That's an instinct. WTF with 5 memberships to start the month, man. I'm saying, listen, WTF, you finna do like we did on. I said, look, so channel members, the most channel members we had in a 30-day period was 82, and that happened during the We the People tour. WTF, man, he done gave at least 20 to 25 channel memberships within this 30-day period. So we over 30 channel members. Thanks to WTF, my brother. I appreciate your love and your support for the channel, your love and your support for the truth, man. I want to get to the bottom of it. A Republican ain't interested in getting to the bottom of it. He gonna point the finger at the Democrats. Y'all Democrats, the bottom of this problem with the Democrats is President Trump's leadership. If I was a strategist for a Democrat or a Democratic Socialist or whoever's caucusing or independent over there with the Democrats, what I would do in those areas, I'm telling you how I would run Tellerico's campaign. In the states like Texas, I think the climate is there. The climate wasn't there before, not even last year in 2025, due to this war, due to the handling of ICE, due to other situations. I think the climate is there for you to again question President Trump's leadership ability as the president, just like they questioned it during COVID. The climate is there. He's giving you every gift you need to talk to the people and to convince them to where, hey, you might love President Trump, but Ken Paxton, this Republican candidate, is not the way forward for the state of Texas at this moment. He's giving them the perfect climate to do that. So what I'm saying is though as Americans, we could blame President Trump, but those 11% of Americans that want to see Iran destroyed, they're not going to leave when President Trump leaves. That's what you don't understand. And I guarantee you that 11% of Americans who want to, that 11%, that whole 11% who want to see Iran completely destroyed, that whole 11% are not Republicans. 99% of them might be conservatives, but they're not all Republicans. So you have a few faint, powerful, faint Democratic voices who will be telling the Democratic president, if he did get into a situation like that, to do the exact same thing. It's just a faction of America that's powerful, that has money, believes, a faction of America believes in creating pain and causing pain on people and being able to create enough pain that you could win any situation. And that's false. I'm saying, listen, if we are a Christian nation, why don't we take Jesus's example? You notice I said Jesus, Christ is King. You know, if you go talk to the Israelis, they'll never talk to you about Jesus. Think about how close of an ally we have. But it's not just Israel. You see what I'm saying? If you go talk to the Saudi Arabians, they'll never talk to you about Israel. The Jordanians, they'll never talk to you about Jesus. That's what I'm saying. But if we're a Christian nation and we following Jesus' example, a new commandment I give unto thee, that ye love one another. I'm not stupid and I'm not naive. The supreme leader is dead. You already killed him. I'm saying you want regime change. That's better for the Iranian people. That's caring and loving for the Iranian people. But we talking about being realistic here now. I'm saying in order for you to affect regime change, because I want you to get with me, WTF, I want y'all to get with me for just a second for you to see something. In order for you to affect regime change, I'm saying how did Ronald Reagan do this? Did Ronald Reagan, did he hate the USSR? I'm sure he wasn't the biggest fans of the USSR, but I'm saying, what was his approach? Did he take an approach that President Trump took when dealing with the supreme leader? Did he say, hey, we gonna go kill all of the USSR, we killing all of the Soviet leadership, we want regime change in the Soviet Union by killing them with missiles and bombs? That's not the way Ronald Reagan did it. He tried to act like he was gonna be friends with Mr. Gorbachev. Ronald Reagan, he wanted to act like he was gonna be friends with Mr. Gorbachev. That's why you see a lot of strategy within the Republican Party and these Republican presidents in dealing with Vladimir Putin. They try to be friends. That's come from Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was madly successful with the way he did it. President Trump and President Bush were not successful in dealing with Russia, trying to be Putin's friends. But that's what I'm trying to tell you. It's an adjustment, a strategy that's needed. We're going to keep coming back to the same spot. You got to change your attitude about the Iranians. That's how you're going to get them to listen to you. They'll never listen to you. It's not if you can't beat them, join them. We're not joining them in what they believe and what they feel, but we know that it costs too much. The price is too high, too much pain on the American people, too much pain on the rest of the world. It makes you look like you don't know what you're doing, and it makes it look like the way that President Obama chose to do this was a better way. Because Americans are dead, hundreds are injured, billions of dollars of American equipment is destroyed. And you have this terrorist organization saying that they in control of international waterways. The way you did it, make it look like it's the wild, wild west and America is not in control. And the more missiles and the more bombs President Trump has made that calculation that flies, the worse off you gonna be. You could pluck Iran in the face and they gonna shrug it off. You listen, people don't understand. They saying why President Trump threatening to wipe out their entire civilization or threatening this and because he knows that you bombing 20,000, you hitting 25,000 targets in Iran ain't made one difference. You trying to make peace after you hit 25,000s and they wanted all the smoke. They wanted all the smoke. I'm going to make peace, peace, peace. President Trump, they even said it. The RG said it. Oh, the United States want peace. We don't want peace because they know what's going to happen. They've been impeached, President Trump. He keep fighting that war. He been and got impeached. It's just President Trump then got himself in a pickle. I guess if you had a President Obama who fight an unnecessarily war and spending billions and trillions, but he don't do it the way you did it this time. I don't care about President Trump. I don't care about President Obama. The way in America, we have a problem with trying to inflict pain on our enemies, on a weaker opponent. and it does not work all the time. It's not foolproof. I'ma go to Afghanistan. I'ma borrow trillions with a T, trillions of dollars, and the Taliban is in power, and we are bigger than them. We're stronger than them. How can the United States military not defeat a bunch of ragtags with guns? They on camels and they got guns, AK-47s. They don't even know how to shoot. How you gonna defeat the big bad United States of America? But you don't understand that some people have a propensity for pain. President Trump and them can't understand that. The man sitting on the gold toilet. You fighting against a Taliban soldier who might be feeding his family a dust sandwich at night. That man don't care nothing about that pain you talking. President Trump, you feel that pain if you can't eat caviar at 7 o'clock in the afternoon because you used to doing what you want to do. Them people used to trying to survive. They trying to stay alive. They in a different world than you. You got a 747 that you ain't even got to be president, that you could fly around the world with gold toilets. These people trying to get enough food to eat at night, man. They don't care nothing about the pain you talking about. They gonna stay and they gonna stay you to the end. That's the extinction of their country you talking about. And personal people's lives are like that. They'll stay you to the end. This is their life you talking about, their livelihood. This is their survival you talking about. They gonna stay you to the end. They don't care nothing about no pain you talking about. You can't take no pain because you a millionaire. You get to do everything you want to do in life, so you thinking everybody else is like that. Other people have walked through hard shoes. It's like, man, listen, I done walked. Listen to me, this is real talk. I done walked 5 miles on a daily basis, bro, carrying 30 pounds on my back. Say you do that for 47 days. I'm walking miles for 47 days with 30 pounds on my back. You take that 30 pounds off my back, boy, I walk 10 miles. Ain't no pain. It's a different, you got some people ain't gonna walk a mile. Some men, they don't want to beat a sweat on their head. You think I'm playing? Puff Daddy hired a man to walk around holding an umbrella for him when it wasn't even raining. Y'all don't remember that, Bentley Farnsworth? When the sun out, he don't want to drop a sweat on his head. Real talk. Some men, if he get a drop of sweat on his face, that's pain for him. You understand that? So imagine him trying to strategize and fight against a dude like Ghost Rider. And he don't understand it. He can't see it. You got to get somebody that's like that for them, for you. And I'm telling you, you got to change your mentality. Because you'll spend 20 years, again, fighting a war, spending trillions of dollars. You'll remove the Taliban, you'll put your government in there, and by the time you leave, that same Taliban gonna be right back in power. You wasted your whole time. You wasted 20 years and trillions of American dollars. That's all you did. That's factual. You wasted 20 years, thousands of Americans dead. Tens of thousands of them are injured, trillions of dollars. And I'm saying, okay, you made the mistake. I'm talking about when did Joe Biden, the Afghan war ended under Joe Biden? That was just the last presidency. We ended the Afghan war, and you trying to fight a whole nother, this finna be Afghanistan 18.0. This gonna be Afghanistan on steroids. And I'm talking about, it ain't even been 4 years, and you trying to fight that same war again. I love my country. I'm a patriot. I love America. But we got to change our attitude on some things. Democrats go on blame President Trump. Yeah, you right. That's poor judgment. He used poor judgment. But I've seen Democrats use poor judgment when it comes to military force in America too. You got to change your attitude, baby. It ain't nothing else you could come up with. You ain't got no other conclusion you could come up with. I'ma love Putin and I'ma hate the Iranians. It don't make no sense. I'ma love Xi and I'ma hate the Iranians. That don't make no sense. And so what you gonna do? Listen, when this war, y'all go back and check the live stream. I'm gonna tell you how you could do this. Okay? You exit out this live stream, you click on the live stream tab, you can use artificial intelligence and they'll summarize. So you go back to the time we doing news when the war finna start. War had started and President Trump was sending them 5,000 military. Y'all remember that? 5,000 Marines, 10,000 Marines. We don't know what they going there for. I told you, you will never be able to secure the Strait of Hormuz. You know why? Because Iran is going to gamble their whole regime on that strait. Iran will let you take Tehran. But they ain't letting you get that straight. They hold the power, they whole war asymmetric is in that strait. Because they could control the world, the gas prices, the price of fertilizer, they could cause inflation to go up, and that's where all their money come from is out the strait. They could control 25% of the world's, what? They gonna, no, Iran ain't letting you get that. They gonna fight that whole war in that strait. So they gonna be shooting Shahed drones from Lebanon. Real talk though. I don't know if it could, I promise you, they could shoot them drones, swarms of drones. Boy, I'm telling you, you send one ship, like if I was out, you send one ship, I'ma send a swarm of drones. You gonna be thinking it was a pestilence in Revelations. For real, you gonna be thinking it was locusts or something. Real talk, I'ma send 1 million Shahed drones at you, boy. You ain't one ship going through that strait. Now you could bomb with all your Tomahawks and your $35 million helicopters that I'ma sink with a $50,000 drone. We just need some changes, man. We can't afford this. We can't, it's a lot. All of your problems, 90% of your problems come from fighting those foreign wars. That war with, I give you 9/11. I don't see why you attack Iraq. Listen, after 9/11, our fatal mistake, you see how Obama fought that war? Well, he just pursued terrorists. He wasn't trying to go put troops in Iraq or troops in no country. He just pursued the terrorists. That's our fatal mistake after 9/11. We shouldn't have never occupied Iraq. We shouldn't have never occupied Afghanistan. We should have just hunted Osama bin Laden like Barack Obama did. But I'm saying that's trillions of dollars that we are in debt. Our national debt could be like 32 trillion instead of 39 trillion. If you wouldn't have fought them foreign wars, and that's $7 trillion that you invested in fighting them foreign wars that were unnecessary, I'm saying you could have done something else in America with that money. Giving trillionaires and billionaires tax breaks. You burning 500 tons of food for children, hungry children. You taking TANF and SNAP away from people. You making insurance prices go higher, taking away health care. Why would I take away health care from somebody who gonna go to the hospital still, and the hospital gotta provide the service for free, which means the nurses and the doctors ain't getting paid, you idiot. All the money comes around in a circle. If I'm a rich man, every now and then, if you smart enough, you gonna go throw some crumbs down to the poor people, because you know the money coming back to your pockets anyway. You gotta keep them happy. You gotta have them shut up. Throw them some crumbs, mister. We gotta change the way we do things, bro. We gotta change the way we fight these wars. We gotta change our mentality. How has sanctions, you want me to tell me how well sanctions work? Sanctions work so well that China created BRICS, and they're trying to completely get rid of the United States dollar because you overuse them. Just because you have the power and the authority to do something doesn't mean you necessarily exercise it every single time. You got to know, use restraint. And you ain't going to get the wisdom to know when to exercise the authority or when to use restraint unless God put you in that position in the first place. Because the God giving you the wisdom. So you going to make mistake after mistake if you in the wrong spot. That ain't the spot you supposed to be in. You say, should he be president? I don't know. The American people thought so. But the American people didn't vote him to go fight no wars. You give a poll of the American people and you ask which one of them voted for him, thought he was going to go fight a war as soon as he got elected. It's only a couple of people knew that he was going to fight the war against Iran. I don't think he even knew it before the assassination attempt that he was going. If you ask President Trump in February of 2024, before when he was Donald Trump, if if you would have told him he was going to go fight Iran, he would have probably laughed at you too. It's only a few people knew that war was going to happen. He didn't even think it was going to happen. He got duped into it too. That's what I'm saying. It's the bigger picture. We got to change our attitude, man. We got to change our attitude, man. Waffle Jackson says the thing with Iran that I think most people overlook is how much oil they were giving China. Crippling Iran cripples China. Bro, listen, I done heard that 1,000 times. Listen, we have a national deficit, a trade deficit with China. So China got a $1 trillion surplus against us, right? China got a $1 trillion trade surplus, and America got a deficit. So President Trump, that's all he talked about. So in 2025, he come in, he put all these tariffs on China. And guess what happens when we go into 2026? China increased their surplus, their trade surplus. So now their surplus is over $1 trillion. It ain't do nothing. Listen, you acknowledging the problem, you not fixing the problem. Acknowledging the problem and fixing the problem are two totally different things. I'm gonna acknowledge that immigration is a problem. Well, how many immigrants are coming into America now? Quite contrary. He trying to deport people with temporary protective status that been here for a decade. Could he have fixed that problem? I don't care if they give him credit for it or not. He could have fixed the problem with immigration. You could have fixed that problem. It's quite possible. If you look at, is that problem fixed? It's better. The border secured American people overall. I got it. You see what I'm saying? But I'm saying, you looking at a problem with a trade deficit with China, you ain't fixed no trade deficits with China. Ain't no deficit. Listen, you know what happened when President Trump was president the first time and he tried that trade war against China? You know what China did? When he jacked up the prices on American beef, the Chinese stopped buying American beef and they started buying Russian beef. So they started spending the money with Russia. How that help you? That don't help you at all. The sanctions against China ain't helped you at all. The sanctions against Russia ain't helped you 0%. You put sanctions on Russian oil, and what Russia do is they take the flags off the ship and they sell the oil on the black market and sometimes making more money. It ain't working. You got to change your approach. You got to change your mentality, and you got to change your attitude. Let me tell you something. So, I don't know why this girl did this to me. She messed me up. But I was out there, you know what I'm saying, trying to holler at young women. I'm trying to talk to a woman. I thought I was looking for a wife. I'm like 33, 34. You see what I'm saying? So, like I'm saying, I tried 10 girls. You see what I'm saying? Out them 10 girls, I might get one. Or I might get two. I was getting dusted a lot. I had a little homegirl named Danica. She was my little friend girl. Nothing like that. She just my homie. She came to me one time and she said, Greg, you got to change your approach when you talking to these girls. Change your approach. You think you know what you're doing. You think what you're saying is right. It might be right, but what you're doing is not working. It doesn't matter if what you're saying is right if your approach, the execution is not working. Listen, I changed my approach. And after that, I had to become a Christian for real. Because I'm saying I got more. It's like the sky's open when it comes to fit. You change the approach. It's the same thing in sales. If you're trying to sell some shoes, and I'm saying the way you trying to sell it, you trying to sell a car, you trying to sell whatever, and the people not buying it, you got to change your approach. Change your tactics. I'm saying 250 years of America dominance. Can we get 250 more years? That's the question this morning. If America has dominated on the world stage for 250 years, can we get 250 more years? Because you have to change your approach. We watching America do the same thing that the United Kingdom did. The same thing, you overextending yourself. President Obama recognized that. You see what I'm saying? I don't care about you having a big military. The problem is you spending all that money on the military, you're going to want to use them weapons. You buying a bunch of toys. In America, with the AI, our military has to stay active. We can't kill it now. We can't be doormat because all the militaries of the world and the strategies are changing due to drones. So we got to stay. But what I'm saying is, as Americans, we need to change our approach. This is even in a conventional war, even if there wasn't no drones, even if it didn't, drones make it easier for these nations to fight asymmetric wars. Even if you did not, they didn't have the capability of fighting an asymmetric war, and they had to fight a conventional war, and you was gonna crush them because you got the power to do something. Doesn't mean that you should do it every single time, because there's unintended consequences. There's all kind of things that are attached to your decisions that you might not have the wisdom to see. I'm saying if President Trump goes to attack Iran, the reason why American people gonna look at that as a fundamental mistake is because we don't have any kind of national security clearance, and we knew that President Obama, because BB went and pitched President Obama that same pitch he pitched President Trump. And I guarantee you, he probably pitched Joe Biden people that same pitch that he pitched. BB been pitching that pitch since the 90s. But see, President Obama didn't ignore the Strait of Hormuz. Neither did President Biden's people, neither did President Bush people. They had their hands full. President Clinton people, they didn't ignore that. They understand the danger of allowing a terrorist regime to think that they could control international waterways in which 25% of the world's energy flows. You see what I'm saying? So that's why some people they could look at President Trump and say, hey, that's a leadership decision. And that's what I'm saying. You could be true and you could be truing, but throughout all your truth, the bottom line is we need to why as American leaders hate the Iranians so much?
These guys are really helping.
Can you answer that? Why does the American government, the leaders of America, hate the Iranians so much? Why? Oh, it's easy to love a Muslim when he giving you money, because President Trump, he adores the UAE. He adores Saudi Arabia. You got Trump towers all over Saudi Arabia. Yeah, we adore them, don't we, Mr. Jared Kushner? I'm saying if you get money from them, but you not getting money, you know you could get money from the Iranians too. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity, not for necessarily a new friendship, but it's an opportunity for extended peace. Look what you did in Germany. It could be done. Look what you did in Japan. How many decades of peace did America deliver to the Japanese? Count them for me. When the last time the Japanese, see, y'all don't know y'all history. You realize the Japanese and the Chinese prior to the World War II, the Japanese and the Chinese, they were always fighting each other, scuffles. America put an end to that. When the last time the Japanese homeland been attacked? I'll sit here and wait for you. America delivered decades of peace to the Japanese people. Decades of peace. That's called an everlasting peace. The Americans delivered to the Japanese. Can you see that? When the last time Germany was attacked? Or when the last time Germany been in a military conflict? The Americans delivered an everlasting peace to the German nation. Can you see that? It's an opportunity to deliver an everlasting peace to the Iranians, but you gotta know what you're doing. And you trying to be their enemies is not the way to do it. That's not the way Ronald Reagan did that with. That's not how he did it. You need a dialogue with the Araghchi. I'm saying maybe the problem is you don't need any politicians negotiating this peace deal. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's the problem. Maybe you don't need politicians negotiating this peace deal. Maybe you need the military. Maybe you need General Kane negotiating the deal. Maybe that's the problem. I don't know what to say. Maybe you need the CIA negotiating the deal. Maybe it's not a politician. Or maybe you could get out the way and let JD do his thing. Because all I'm saying, you don't have to get on here, okay, we going to say, oh, tomorrow the United States struck back. And then the next day, Iran launched 500 Shahed drones at the Gulf states. And it goes back and forth. The problem is you need to change your strategy. You need to change your attitude. You need to change. That's what's necessary. Reagan brought an everlasting peace, convincing Russia to tear down the Berlin Wall. And President Trump or J.D. Vance could bring an everlasting peace to the Iranians by convincing them that it just makes better sense for you, for your people. I'm saying, you don't think the Iranians could look into Saudi Arabia? You don't think the Iranians could see how the Saudis living? You don't think the Iranians could see how they living in Bahrain or in Jordan? You don't think the Iranians could see them Lamborghinis in the desert? It's plenty of young. That's why the Iranian people are wanting to revolt against the government. You know, the Arab Spring. They want to live like the rest of the world. I'm saying it's only common sense. I'm saying this 2026, it's just a matter of time before the young ones take over. That's what happened in Saudi Arabia. And Mohammed bin Salman took over and he done modernized the country. They finna move the whole country. The women, I'm saying they driving now. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. It's just a matter of time, man. But in the meantime, in between time, there's just things you gotta change. You gotta change. You gotta change. You gotta change. Yeah, China trying to change. They progressively changing. They moving forward progressively is what I'm trying to tell you. You see what I'm saying? The Russians, I don't know how much change, but I'm saying you gotta change, man. You gotta move forward. You gotta step into something different. And you will never know it's different, or you will never know it works if you keep trying the same thing. We want to create pain. You did that with the Taliban, it didn't work. The IRGC, they watched you. They've been waiting for you. They've been plotting on you. They've been strategizing against you, and they've been... So if you listen, the Taliban, you couldn't keep the Taliban from getting back to power after 20 years. I promise you, you ain't gonna keep the IRGC from getting back to power. You cannot walk away and leave that straight like that. You went over there and you created that mess. You gotta fix that mess. You cannot leave that straight like that. Because you leaving that straight like that, you know what's gonna happen. China gonna come in and they gonna fix it, and you know it's gonna be easy for them to fix it, because they cool with the Iranians. Maybe that's what because the Chinese are halfway let the Iranians charge a toll. You can't leave the straight like that. You can't bully them. You can't fight. You gotta swallow your pride. You gotta swallow your ego, and you gotta sit down and you gotta talk to them people. Period. You got to use diplomacy. You got to use human skills. Do you got human skills? You got negotiating skills. Do you got people skills? The art of the deal is not finna work. He wrote the art of the deal in the 80s. This has been 30 years later. He wrote the art of the deal with dealing with other business leaders. This is a terrorist nation. It's not gonna work. You gotta change your approach. You gotta change your attitude. You gotta change your strategy, and you gotta do it quick. Because if you don't, the Iranians could simply say, hey, we'll do better if we keep this conflict going. The Iranians could say, hey, we'll do better if this conflict stay going to November. Maybe not a full-fledged war with America. That's probably not good for us. But we know President Trump, he watching the gas prices, he watching the stock market, he watching inflation. So he not gonna full-fledged attack us. So what we'll do is every now and then we just gonna knock down the Apache helicopter and we gonna say, oh, well, we don't know. Every now and then we just gonna sink a strait we gonna sink a ship in the Strait of Hormuz. Because I'm saying it benefits us, Iran, to this conflict to continue as long as possible. You gotta change your approach. If you had a different approach, you would be winning. If you had an approach of like, hey, listen, what God said. Well, listen, when God got something against you, but he loves you, or let's just say he got something, you know what, God with all the power, God with all the power, justly, he said, come and let us reason together. Because he has the power to destroy the world like he did before. Doesn't mean he's gonna do it every time. Let us reason together. You gotta change your approach. Iran, come and let us reason together. You got yourself in this pickle. If I'm gonna attack them militarily, I'm gonna start the whole conflict with a blockade. I'm not gonna start the conflict with killing the supreme leader. I'm gonna start the conflict with the blockade, because I know the reason I don't want to attack Iran is because of the strait. So I'm gonna start the conflict. I'm not gonna use the blockade when I don't have a choice. I'm gonna start the conflict with a blockade. I'm gonna start it off by choking out there. I'm gonna start it with that. That's a mistake. You brought a blockade. If you would have started it with it, you brought the blockade after gas $5. Now the American people, they mad at you. It's too late. What the American people did, listen, President Bush, he duped them. Yeah, he duped them and said, hey, we got to keep fighting terror. So he got reelected. But what his poll numbers was looking like when he left? Go Google George Bush poll numbers today. What his poll numbers looking like? Before President Biden, he was the most unpopular president there was. You got to change your approach, man. The American people not trying to fight that war. You are not going to win. President Trump got himself in a full Nelson. It's a full pickle. You drop bombs, the gas price is going to go up. You shoot missiles, the gas price is going to go up. You got an election in less than 90 days, and you lose that election, they're going to impeach you. If President Trump loses control of the House of Representatives and or the Senate, you are guaranteed by April the 1st of 2027 to get impeached for the third time. Guaranteed. So I'm saying, like, you got an election coming up in less than 90 days. And with your impeachment, your political future rests in the balance. The Democrats gonna try to charge you with more felonies, I promise you. Why you think they made that War Powers Act about Iran? They passed a law. I guarantee you, the Epstein law, I'm telling you, bro, it's not beneficial for him to fight that war. And he made them calculations. So I'm saying, what's the next thing? You still talking, saying you gonna wipe Iran off the map? Let me tell you what I would do if I was General Kane. Because this is my military, General Kane. This is your military that the world is watching on the world stage. And that politician over there talking is hurting you. So, General Kane, what I would do if I was you, I would go to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and I'll put a muzzle on President Trump. Put a muzzle on his mouth. Muzzle him. Put a muzzle on him so he can't talk. Because you going to come out. I'm saying, listen, we got the little fake peace deal. Everything look like it's going good. And because you know in the negotiation, y'all not going to get along. President Trump think this the 80s. He going to come out there to Iran talking about, I'm going to wipe you out the face of the earth. They said, oh, you are. The strait shut again. They calling shots. Iran calling the shots. Whenever Iran want to close the strait, they'll close the strait. They calling the shots. Iran in control of this situation. And you did it to yourself. Change. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. You gotta change, man. I had to change. I used to sell drugs. Real talk. I don't care. I'm not embarrassed. I don't care who hear me. I'm just a different person than you. I'm real. I used to sell drugs. I had to change. I used to chase women. I had to change. I did a lot of things in my life. I had to change. You don't think nations have to change? 250-year anniversary of the United States, and we making the same mistakes we made 60 years ago. It's time to change. Fundamental change. It's not easier said than, it's easier said than done. I'm saying, I don't see how the people who are listen, this is how you get them to change. You get the chief strategists, like the people like John Bolton and the Republican strategists that President Trump is giving it to. You get the chief Republican strategists and you put them in the same room with me. And I'm going to make them look stupid on a regular basis. I could show them. I'm sure they could see it, but they hadn't understood it yet. And they think if we drop one more, listen, they so convinced that this Tomahawk missile is the greatest thing to mankind, they think that a Tomahawk missile could solve any problem in the world. You got a problem with the Tomahawk missile. Cuba Tomahawk missile. The Tomahawk missile. That is just such an extraordinary weapon that you think that a Tomahawk missile could fix every problem in the world. A Tomahawk missile can't fix all the problems. You got to change your attitude, change your mentality, change. Change is a good thing. It's a beautiful thing. Change is a good thing, man. It's a beautiful thing, man. I had to change. We all need to change. Which one of us want to stay the same? We want to just stay the same forever? We can't stay the same forever, can we? We got to change sometimes, man. And that's all I'm saying. Sometimes we got to change, man. America needs to change. 250 years of dominance on the world stage. I'm a patriot. 250 years of greatness. Today I'm in Central Park, y'all. I showed y'all with 250-year anniversary. Midtown, New York City. You know what I'm saying? New York City, the largest American city, the center of the universe. You feel me? You feel me? So, you know, New York City celebrate 250 years of American excellence and dominance on the world stage. But I'm saying we want 100 more years, don't we? If we do this at this point, we got to change. Let our empire not be the empire that did what the British Empire and what the Roman Empire and what every other great empire did that failed. And President Obama, he's seen that. That's why he said we're going to draw down, we're going to draw down. President Trump came in like he a protectionist. President Trump, I'm glad you're not a protectionist, because that's going to be the quickest way for America to lose its power. And I'm sure that the Republican that's going to make America a protectionist, that when America was a protectionist, we view that from geopolitical, that's what happened in World War II. Because we want to stay within our own borders. No, that ain't nothing wrong. You just gotta, the way you handle the situations, you gotta handle them different. President Obama, he addressed Iran. He addressed the problem. He just didn't go try to find a Tomahawk missile to address the problem. He didn't need no Tomahawks. He didn't need no Tomahawk missiles. That's how you fix the problem. As much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. President Trump just went over there plucking them people in the head. Hey, we don't like the Iranians anyway. They've been killing Americans for a long time. So, hey, this the right time, the right opportunity, and just go start plucking them people in the head, bro. For no reason. Oh, yeah, they nuclear. Well, yeah, that was Israel's problem. What are you plucking them in the head for? The last time President Trump bombed Iran, the first time, I'm saying, like, he let Israel and he let them scrap it out. 12-day war. He let Israel and Iran scrap it out until he was through with it, and he told them, okay, Israel, that's enough. He should have did the same thing this time. Let them scrap it out. America didn't have no place in that conflict. But that's because prior to President Trump, I didn't really see it that much out of President Biden's administration, to be truthful with you. President Biden then was ending wars. But I'm saying prior to President Trump, you had President Trump again. And he dropped some bombs too. Not as many as President Obama, but he dropped bombs too. And you had President Obama who dropped bombs, and you had President Bush. We know what that story was. President Reagan, even though he negotiated peace with the USSR, President Reagan, he still dropped some bombs too. That's what I'm saying. We got to change. You said I have no real facts. I've been giving you all the real facts. Fighting a war in Iraq is stupid. Fighting a war in Iran is stupid. It's fighting a war in Afghanistan is stupid. It's the same stupidity. How is it not facts? You fought a war for 20 years, and the same people who was in power before you came was in power when you left. That's facts. The Taliban was in power before America started that war in Afghanistan, and when they left, they still was in power. How many years did we fight the Vietnam War? How many tens of thousands of troops did we lose? How many billions of dollars did we spend? And when we left, The same Communist Party that was in power in Vietnam was in power when we left. The same Communist Party that was in power in Korea was in power when we left. The same Taliban that was in power in Afghanistan was in power when we left. How we ain't say that's facts for you? The same IRGC that is in power in Iran, if we spend 20 years to remove them, when we tired of fighting them, when we leave in 20 years, guess who gonna be back in power? The IRGC. It's a stupid, pointless war. You keep fighting them. You have to change your attitude. You gotta change, man. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. Hey, listen, President Trump said he gonna make America great again. He didn't say he was gonna make the Middle East great again. He didn't say he gonna make Iran great again. He didn't say he gonna make Cuba great again. So we waiting on you to make America great again. We was waiting on George Bush to make America. The American people are constantly waiting on you to make America great again. Their definition of making America great again is giving them an opportunity at the American dream. Who done that? Which one of the politicians doing that? Oh, you welcome, Waffle. I'll see you next time, my boy. Happy 4th of July weekend, everybody. We patriots in here at Legal Wars Live. We celebrate 250 years of American excellence, and we want 250 more years of American excellence. The world is changing, man. America's the greatest existential threat to American power, I don't think is the Chinese. I think the Chinese are a relatively peaceful people. I really do. I don't care what y'all say. The greatest threat to American power is American leadership. An American president, the greatest threat to American power is an American president. I could promise you that. If you got 20 years of Barack Obama, you would never have a problem out the Chinese, you would never have a problem out the Iranians, and if you did, it's gonna get solved. If you got 20 years of Joe Biden, you might have a problem with immigration, you might have a problem with inflation or gas prices, but you ain't gonna have no problem with fighting stupid wars. Happy 4th of July to everybody, man. 250 years of American dominance. That's what we celebrating. Hey, listen, you see the Russians, Vladimir Putin better not have no more military parades. Vladimir Putin, you can't have no military parade if your military is getting embarrassed like that in Ukraine. You could tell Xi he could have as many military parades as you want to, Xi. Xi, we hadn't seen your military in operation at all. The Chinese sold the Vietnamese fighter jets and them jets falling out the sky. The Americans need the military parade. The Americans been dominating the world stage for 250 clean years. Yeah. But we want 250 more years. And we can't get 250 more years, guys, by fighting unnecessary wars. It's just period, point blank. We can't get them by fighting wars that we shouldn't fight. You spending resources, you shedding blood, munitions, lives. We losing leadership on the world stage, man. We gotta change our attitude. We want 250 more years of complete dominance on the world stage. We want to make America great again. In my opinion, and I hate to say this, but this is what I would do if it was me. I would take Jared Kushner off of that. Put Jared Kushner and Witkoff Put them in Russia with Ukraine and keep them there. I would take Jared Kushner and them off of that negotiation team. I would put Vice President Vance on that team. I would put a muzzle on President Trump's mouth, and I and I would let General Kane go negotiate with the RGC, because I believe General Kane, as a military man, is going to negotiate with the military who's now running Iran. I think they're going to respect General Kane more than they will President Trump or President. You see what I'm saying? And if the military needs to proceed with military operations past this point, I'll let it come from the mouth of General Kane, not no politician. I don't want President Trump going out there and saying, hey, well, I'm mad that they're not listening to me, because we know in negotiations, y'all gonna go back and forth. So every time the Iranians say no, that he don't want something, we gonna get a military conflict started again. Oh, nah, we got peace for real though, y'all. It's a real peace deal. And then we negotiate in our 60 days. Bro, you didn't make it 7 days into the 60 days. What's a memorandum of understanding? That's a memorandum of misunderstanding. We need change, baby. Yeah, it might have fell down in President Trump, and yeah, you might be questioning his leadership abilities and his leadership skills, and yeah. But I see more fault in the whole system than that. We need change. If you guys haven't liked the video, man, y'all double tap the screen for me. Out here, big NYC on the Upper West Side. You know who America's biggest trading partners are? Why you think the United States, the richest countries in the world is not China. China #2 GDP, but they're not the richest country in the world. The average Chinese citizen make $116 US a month. I can name you 5 countries in Europe where the average European citizen make more money than the average American. They got the money. Who gonna buy your products? People who don't have money? The people who buy your products are the people with money. The Europeans and the Canadians got the money, you idiot. Who got the money? You look at the top 15 countries, they GDP in the world, you know where the 15 countries are? It's not North Korea ain't in the top 15. Iran ain't in the top 15 economies. The Chinese #2, but their government has money. Their people are not so much. The Chinese people, in the eyes of the average American that you see walking around Central Port, are poor. 700 Chinese yen a week is what the average Chinese make. That's $116 US. Yeah, your government, you got 1.4 billion people. You got almost 5 times the number of people staying in China than staying in the US. And the average American is making more than 4 Chinese people to put together on the average. The average American really makes over 700 US a week. And the average Chinese really makes 116 Chinese yen a week. The Chinese people ain't rich. The Chinese government has money. Look how massive it is. They got 1.4 billion people. The workforce in China is bigger than the number of people you have in America. But yet still their government and their GDP is still about half the size of America. And they 5 times bigger than America. That ain't no comparison. The Chinese economy, even if the Chinese GDP grows larger than America, I'm saying they're 5 times bigger than America. That don't mean you got more money. The money is in Europe. That's where the money at. What has the Europeans done for us? That's why America doesn't lead the world in manufacturing, because Xi ain't gonna talk like that. Xi knows the Europeans buy his products. He knows the Americans buy his. Xi and them, they know where. I appreciate that donation, guys. If y'all want to donate to the channel, y'all hit the button with the $sign is. Listen, the Xi, he know where the money at. Xi know the Vietnamese people ain't got the money the Americans got. He know the white people got all the money. They know that in Asia. They know that in China. They know that in Africa. They know that all over the world. In every language, in every tongue, they know that in South America that the white people got the money. They know that. Who don't know that? So you look at the Europeans, they white people, ain't they dummy? They got the money. You look at the Canadians, they white people, ain't they dummy? They got the money. What you mean what the Europeans has done for us? They the ones buying your products, stupid. Hey, listen, if you don't want to be friends with the Europeans, watch what's gonna happen. If Xi can convince the Europeans to follow him, if you took America out of NATO and you put China in NATO and you let Xi gonna rule the world, whoever ruling Europe, whoever Europe is following is ruling the world. You don't know that. Because you don't know geopolitics like I do. Whoever Europe is following is ruling the world. What has Europe done for us? You know how many nations fought against Iraq? The first time it was 42, and I could guarantee you could count them Europeans in them 42. You know who fought against Iraq the second time? You know who fought against Afghanistan? Every single time the Canadians was there, the Europeans was there, and so President Trump, he needs help. So who we gonna go call? The Canadians, they don't want nothing to do with you, you idiot. The Europeans, they don't want nothing. What has the Europeans done? They ain't done nothing for President Trump. What he done for them? Ask George Bush what the Europeans done for him. Ask Barack Obama what the Europeans done for him. Ask every other president what the Europeans done for them. But then President Trump, oh, they ain't doing nothing for me. Oh, for real? I want to become president and I want to start taxing my friends. No, I'm not taxing Elon. I'm not taxing Jeff Bezos. I'm taxing the Europeans. I want to put a tax on my friends for no reason. Oh, our trade balances are off balance. Oh, you don't say. They off balance for a reason, buddy. You just don't know why. But we can educate you and you could get yourself some good old education and find out why. President Trump, we gonna educate you on soft power. You getting an education on soft power. A full education. And the whole world giving it to you. Yeah, Bibi Netanyahu, we giving you an education on why you don't starve women and children. We gonna educate you on why that. Tell Bibi to go give a speech in front of the United Nations. It's not gonna be the United Nations if Bibi give a speech. It's gonna be the United Nations. He gonna have 5 countries stay in there if he give a speech. France probably will stay. Because you know what I'm saying, that's kind of how Israel got their independence. The United States will stay. I think, listen, Great Britain, if Bibi Netanyahu at the United Nations, Great Britain probably gonna walk out. You talk about all of Asia, is none of Asia or Africa, none of them want to hear Bibi say nothing. The Chinese don't want to hear him. I'm saying the Chinese talking about human rights. Listen, every European nation that goes to China, they scolding China about human rights. All them Muslims they killing over there currently in China, right? Imagine if the Chinese get to scolding you about human rights and mistakes you made about human. You got the Russians and the Chinese and the Turkish, they walking out when Bibi giving a speech. The Russians? Vladimir walking out. Vladimir, you a war criminal. Who you gonna walk out when they giving a speech? The Russians, the Chinese walking out. You got Bibi Netanyahu. I never seen communist countries. The communists think they got they more democratic than Bibi is. Yeah, we giving you a lesson. Don't starve women and children. It's not that hard, man. You just got to change your mentality. Just because you got the power to do something don't mean you do it. Just because you got a nuclear bomb doesn't mean you go drop it. Vladimir Putin could have been dropped a nuclear bomb in Ukraine. He could have been done it. He ain't stupid. And I'm talking about this a madman. He ain't stupid. Just because you got the power to drop a nuclear bomb don't mean you go do it. Just because you got the power to shoot a tomahawk don't mean you do it. Barack Obama didn't do. I'm telling you, 90% of the times America drop a bomb, they shouldn't drop it. Sometimes you got deterrence, yeah, some of them. I'd rather go stomp on Venezuela or Iran than have to get into a conflict with Russia or China. But I'm saying 90% of the times you do it, you shouldn't be doing it. That's facts. Just because you got the power to do something doesn't mean you should do it. We need to teach that to our children. You got the power to do all kind of things that you should not do. I'm saying, what else should we say? What else we got to talk about? What else is it? Just because you got the power to do something doesn't mean you should do it. The rich pay more taxes in the... I'm glad you said that, Chris. You pay more taxes, or they might not, or I don't know. I don't care. The rich should pay all the taxes in America. Not some of the taxes, not half the taxes. The rich should pay all of the taxes in America. We should revamp that entire tax code, the whole tax code. Why should I go collect money from a woman who makes $75,000 a year when I could collect the money from a trillionaire? Let me explain something. If we tax Elon $1 trillion, if we taxed Elon Musk $1 trillion, he would still be evaluated at $100 billion. He'll still be richer than 99% of the people in the world. The United States government, like what? We had a deficit of 2.25 trillion. If you got $1 trillion from Elon, that almost kill your, that's half of your deficit you spending in a year. You really could balance the budget. If you got more taxes from rich people, you really could balance the budget. I heard that, listen, every excuse that a Republican got, I heard it my whole life. The middle class, the rich people already pay all the taxes. No, they don't. Because I'm paying taxes. I owe taxes right now. So no, that is a lie. I'm a small business owner. I owe taxes right now on my small business. Even if it operated at a loss, because I made money, I owe taxes right now on my small business. So the rich people ain't paying all the taxes. Nah, the rich people need to pay all the taxes, not some of the taxes, not most of the taxes. They need to pay all of the taxes. Rewrite the tax code. To me, it's simple mathematics, man. It's not that difficult. We got to change some things in America. 250 years we've been great. We want to stay great, don't we? Y'all, WTF, he donated 5 channel memberships, man. I could have been hopped off, you know what I'm saying? You know, this is like my 9th day, 10th day in a row live streaming. I could have been hopped off, you know what I'm saying? Got the channel memberships, you know what I'm saying? But I'm staying on and I'm rocking with y'all. That's how I get down, man. 2 hours, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get off before long, though. You know what I'm saying? The Tax the Rich tour. We're supposed to do shorter live streams. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm bringing you guys way more content. You know what I'm saying? In a 90-day period, I usually post about 150 or so videos. You know what I'm saying? So, or 130 to 150 videos. We looking at 210, 220 videos. 70 or 80 more videos I'm bringing you guys in 90 days. Twice the content. Yeah, it shouldn't be no taxes. You gotta collect taxes. How you gonna get your revenue? You don't have to collect the income tax. The way Texas do it is they collect taxes from the roads. You know what I'm saying? They collect you know what I'm saying, toll. They got tolls on their roads. You see what I'm saying? They got different ways that they make income. You gotta bring in income as a government. You will have to bring in income some kind of way. And it's like, how you gonna bring in your income if you don't collect taxes? You gotta collect taxes. Somebody gotta pay taxes. It's crazy. Some kind of way the government, how's the government gonna get money? You could turn the government into a business and let them but you don't want people with power. Like, that's not gonna work out like that. You gotta collect taxes. If you make $1 billion, okay? Look, this is what I'm gonna say. If you make $1 billion, you need to pay. What was the tax code in the 50s on $1 billion? Somebody Google it for me and tell me. In the 50s, what's the tax code if you made $1 billion? In the 50s, what's the tax code if you made $1 million? Somebody Google it and tell me. That's what the tax code need to be today. If you make $10 billion, you got to make $10 billion to be a billionaire. That's how it would be in America. Because if you make $10 billion in a year, I'm going to take $9 billion from you. If you make $10 billion in a year, yeah, pay the government $9 billion. Real talk. That's your tax. 90% on billionaires. 75% I said, but it could go up to 90%. Real talk. Tax the rich. 50% on millionaires. Tax the rich, boy. Before World War II. But after World War II, we found out soft power, so we took them tariffs off the world and we had to make the people pay taxes. That was a noble idea for President Trump. But I'm saying that noble idea, we got to get past the nobility of the idea that the people don't have to pay taxes. Yeah, the people got to pay taxes. That means the rich too. They got to pay their fair share. That's the only thing gonna work, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Margaret, are you on the chart? That's the question. Are you included on the chart? Yes or no? And why would listen? Who decides to start a small business that's going to bring in billions? Who starts a small business, and when they start a small business, they say we gonna make billions of dollars? But I don't think no one starts a small business and they say that we're gonna make billions of dollars. I don't think that's how that happens. I think you just start the small business and you end up making billions. But I don't think you're gonna start the small business. You start a small business because that's what you listen. The 50s. We don't need as many billionaires. Maybe we don't need as many millionaires. You see what I'm saying? People still gonna start small businesses if you got 90% tax on $1 billion. They're gonna still start small businesses. Look at what happened in the 50s. Look at what happened in the 60s. Did we stop starting small businesses because people made that, because you had taxes like that? No. They're going to still start small businesses. They're going to still make money. Most of the people who are they're probably not thinking in their mind. They're probably not saying that, so we're going to start a small business and we're going to make $1 billion a year. Then we're going to have to pay 90% of their taxes. They're not thinking that. They probably would be lucky to think, you talking about in profits? You know how many businesses actually profit $1 million, who actually have a profit at all? The vast majority of businesses don't even show profit in your first year. So I'm saying if you got a profit of $300,000 in your first year as a business under ghostwriter, you won't have no taxes. That's going to help the majority of Americans. You don't understand that. You know how many businesses in America is making $1 billion? Y'all are crazy. You talking about businesses in America? I hadn't looked it up, but I'm quite sure 1,000%, 2,000%. Bro, it's probably less than 200 or 300 businesses who making $1 billion in America. Who is it affecting? 200 businesses? You probably got less than, and then 100,000 or less businesses, probably 50,000. I don't want to say no number that's making millions of dollars a year. It's not that many. It's not as many as you think. So if you got less businesses making than y'all think, I'm saying it's going to help the people who made $60,000 with their business. It's going to help them. It's going to help the people who made 100,000 with their business or 500,000 with their business. You see what I'm saying? It's going to help them. That's the majority of the people. Y'all, why is it that people only focus on 1,000 billionaires or 2,000 billionaires in America? You only focus on 2,000 billionaires. It's 340 million people, and we focused on 2,000 billionaires. It don't make no sense. 2,000 billionaires. You focused on a few million or millions of millionaires, but you got hundreds of millions of people who are suffering, who need the help. You got hundreds of millions of people who, we talking about the tax code, I'm saying it's insane to me. It's truly insane, man. I don't understand it. But you always want to protect the rich man. You always want to protect the dude who got money. And you want to make the one who don't got money pay taxes, man. It makes no sense to me, man. You know what I'm saying? Man, if y'all haven't liked the video, man, y'all double tap the screen for me. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure y'all hit the notification bell. If anybody want to donate to the channel, man, y'all can hit the button with the $sign. Your donations are much appreciated. I appreciate the donations. I appreciate the new channel members. That means I need to come up with some new content for my channel members, don't it? Yeah, I think that's what that means, man. You couldn't have a functional NATO without America's support. Who knows? The Europeans, President Trump backed out of supporting Ukraine. The Europeans start supporting Ukraine, and Ukraine is doing better than they was before in the war, so who knows? Somebody said you never worked in your life. That's funny, man. Capitalism and corruption are screwing y'all, but mostly capitalism. Yeah, maybe a little bit. I don't know. I don't know how we say this. I don't know how we break this down. I don't know how we make this work. I really don't. You know what I'm saying? I give y'all strategy. I give y'all solutions on the problems I see. I just know right now, fundamentally, if I had the power to control what I'm going to tell you is, I'm going to tell you, you need to change some things. You see what I'm saying? Fundamentally, I'm going to tell you, you need to change your attitude towards Iran. You need to change, man. That's what needed. And due to the lack of change, and just like I said, I don't even know if we are in a ceasefire. You know what I'm saying? The conflict, they still trading blows. They still trading strikes. You know what I'm saying? Callister says out of the roughly 34 to 35 million businesses in America, about 5 to 6 million generate over 100,000. 5 to 6 million. 15 to 20% clears 100,000. Thank you for that comment. 15 to 20% clears 100,000. So that means if you tax it, listen, I'm talking about taxing a millionaire 50%. I'm talking about taxing a billionaire 90%. I'm not talking about taxing a man who made 900,000 a penny. So 85% of businesses in America under my tax, they gonna explode. You gonna decrease the rich and you gonna increase the middle class. And in the meantime, you gonna bring up some of the poor. That's what happens when you tax the rich. The middle class gonna get so much bigger. People $900,000 a year, they gonna become millionaires. They ain't paying no taxes. People who make $50,000 a year, they'll have an easier road. They ain't paying no taxes. Change the tax code. You tax millionaires 50% and greater. You tax billionaires 75 to 90% and greater. Not greater. 90% is the highest, but 75% tax on $1 billion made and 50% tax on $1 million made. Period. No getting around it. No writing off. If you want to write something off, you got to really create wealth. You need to incentivize them. I'm going to cut taxes for him because he creates the wealth. But he takes that tax cut, that $250,000 extra dollars, and instead of hiring 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 or 20 extra employees, what he does with the extra money, he goes and buys a Range Rover. He buys his child a new Tesla. He takes his workers on a vacation to Belize. I'm saying you giving them money, they not putting the money, they might be putting it back into the economy, they might be saving it, but I'm saying they not help create no real wealth. They not really creating no wealth, man. They putting that money in their pocket. They cutting jobs. They not increasing hiring. The reason why the President Trump's job numbers look good, that comes from them investments in America. That's what that comes from. That don't come from no policies that he have. That's not what that comes from. That comes from them investments in America, man. You know what I'm saying? 50 trillion in debt, that's where it's going to end. You see what I'm saying? If it's at 39 right now, it's going to be real close to 50 when he leaves the White House. And I don't see how you rebound from that or get better from that. You had 250 years of greatness. And you celebrating 250 more years of greatness. That's what you hoping for. Man, this big ghostwriter, man, it's Legal Wars Live, man. I'm finna get on down, man. I'm finna get on out of here, man. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support. Appreciate the donations. I appreciate the new channel members. Our boy WTF. He's a friend of the channel. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know what I'm saying? We appreciate the donation as well, man. Like, listen, we'll be live again tomorrow at 7:15 a.m. Eastern. Right here, man. Y'all make sure y'all lock in. Christ is King, man. Let's see if we can't get some change going in America, man. I'm out, man. It's Big Ghostwriter.